That's another thing. I haven't mopped the mat in 10 years.
Oh, wait, hold on. How have you not mopped the mat in 10 years, sir?
No, I definitely have. I definitely have. But you know how you said, this white belt didn't mop it right. Most schools go by rank, so it's been a while since it was up to me. So I'm excited to be that guy all over again.
What is up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Rafa Sparza, coming to you with another great installment of the Grappling Hour. I hope you're doing well. It has been a great day for us here. And listen, guys, there's so much going on. There's so many things that we got to go over. But I'm excited about our guest. You know and love him. We were talking off air, catching up, and it's always good to see my brother. But before we get to him, a couple quick reminders. First, if you could do us a solid and become a member of the Grappling Hour family. The way you can do that is by going over to HY.PAGE/Grappling Hour and becoming a member and paying $5 a month, just $5, to become a member of the Grappling Hour community. It's very simple. You can do that. You can see our interviews 30 days before anybody else, or you could pay a few extra dollars and see some premium bonus content like extra episodes or tape studies or segments that aren't available anywhere else. And in fact, you might see one with our guest here today. Now, what do I say about our guest? Oh, well, before I do, let's just remind you guys, you can go check us out on Discord and lots of other places, the Grappling Hour Discord, and you can also like and subscribe to this video. All right, back to our guest. He is about to open up a gym, and I'm so proud of this man because he is one of the best competitors. He's been a fan and friend of the show for a very long time, and I've been seeing him work and toil and be doing all this stuff behind the scenes. I'm so stoked for him because his gym is about to open very, very soon. So we have questions about this gym. We have questions about the way, the time it's taken for him to set it all up, all of that good jazz. But I am telling you right now, we are so stoked to have our guest, our good friend, Daniel Martinez, coming back, aka Dan Martinez. Show him back on up to the show. Dan, how are you doing, sir?
My man, Raf, it is awesome to be back, brother. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's so good to see you, man. You look great. What aging secrets do you have for the rest of us? Because we're all trying to keep the hair, the face, everything. You don't look like you aged since the last time I talked to you, man.
Well, I'm trying to stay out of the sun more. Now that I hit 30, it's like, I gotta watch my beauty sleep, gotta watch my skincare routine. No, I'm just joking.
I was about to say, I don't think the plan for you to stay out of the sun would last for very long.
No, that one wouldn't work out too well.
So tell me, man, you look good. You're feeling good. When did the want to make this gym happen? How long has it been in the cards? How long have you wanted to open up your own gym, sir?
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, I think like for most grapplers and most fighters, they look at opening up a school and running classes as like the obvious end of the road. Where I never really looked at it like that. From the day I started, I mean, it kind of sounds funny. I would always cross train in other gyms and I would compare what gym looked cooler than the other. And I was always obsessed with the idea of owning a gym and eventually coaching my own set of students. But I always thought it would be, at the end of my career when I'm in my 40s, later in life. But as the time progressed and, as I got older and definitely more mature and saw the opportunity and availability, I thought it was a great time to do it. And definitely glad I pulled the trigger now,
So you're about to open. When exactly do you open, sir?
Yes. So our grand opening is on Sunday, the 17th, and then first class will be the following Monday. So next weekend we'll be open. Oh, yeah.
So what has it been like? Like, have you had like secret sessions on the side? Or the mats all down? I assume about a week out now, you have the floor work and most of that kind of done. Now it's just kind of the actual like beast of getting the school open, right?
Exactly. So I joke around all the time. I say the only thing I'm good at is jiu-jitsu, and this was no further proof than how true that is. And so with the build out, you expect 4 weeks. 4 weeks turns to five. Five turns to six, and just laid the mats down today. So I wish I could have had some secret sessions. Those secret soft openings, but we haven't had any of those. But the mats were installed today, laid the border down, and all the painting and stuff, all the hard grimy stuff was done for the past couple of weeks. So this last week will be getting the CRM, the systems going, and practicing a couple practice runs, and definitely some of those secret sessions this week for sure.
Okay, so this weekend is when the secret sessions you get held, yeah?
Exactly. This is where they're going to start coming around. You'll get that text, and then we'll be in there.
So it's a so what are you looking for if you're asking for somebody to come for a secret session, sir?
I'm just going to shoot you a text. If I've any one of my close friends that's willing to come out, just come out in a cool rash guard. Don't show up in a cotton t-shirt, and we'll be good to go.
So hold on. I didn't know there was going to be a barometer of having a cool t-shirt, or I'm sorry, a cool rash guard. What
Got to do the cool rash guard.
So what constitutes a cool rash guard? I'm assuming one of the gym's rash guards, but if you were judging, where does the echelon of cool rash guard go?
Yeah, so definitely, I mean, if we're from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being my school rash guard, and 1 being no rash guard, so somewhere within the 6 to 7 to 8, any rash guard at all, so long as it is jiu-jitsu brand and not like starter from Walmart or anything like that.
So let me get this straight. So at the bottom, at the very zero of that is no rash guard. So is this a no rash guard school that is anti? What does that mean?
And anti t-shirt, tank top, stringer, it's got to be a rash guard. It's funny. One of my biggest pet peeves is a cotton t-shirt on the mat. It sounds funny. Somebody listening to the show will agree or laugh at it, but that's my biggest pet peeve.
Listen, I'm the same way. I was just wondering, there is the move, and this is, it depends on schools and availability and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But there is also the move where, because you guys are so hot out there, you're one of the places where I'm like, I don't know, man, you might have people who are in the no rash guard, the what we refer to as ADCC style. So is that allowed at your gym?
That will be, yeah. That will be in separate. Like most other schools, I think the shirtless training happens like midday. Away from the from the 9 to 5ers. So we'll have space for that for sure. But no jam toes or fingers on tank tops and loose clothing. That's for sure.
Because here's what I tell people. I tell people, like, when they have those baggy shirts, and they start rolling, half the time I'm like, you know what? Go without the fucking shirt, dude. Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
If I'm catching the toe on here, like, I would prefer that you're not even wearing it, because there's more likelihood that I'm gonna get fucking hooked onto that.
Yeah, I mean, I would rather you take your shirt off and full roost on it at ADCC. Like just full hairy, all body, sweaty. I would rather that than jam one of the worst injuries I've ever had was jamming a toe on a tank top going for a triangle, and that was really painful for a long time. Very long time ago.
I can imagine that's actually one of the worst injuries that I can see out there. Yeah, I've got a couple guys who, when they come in, either they're doing the previous class and they got like a very relaxed version of it, or they come in and they have like, they just came in looking like they came from a basketball game, and I go, I can't do this. So
yeah. No, that's funny. Yeah, no, then that's another pet peeve. 2 classes, 2 shirts. Got to,
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So
but
are you, so Dan, go ahead.
No. I was saying, it's other than that, it'll be good.
Good man. So I was going to follow up on this. Are you somebody who is subscribed to the no rash guard rule? Like, have you done that form of training? And if so, have you found any benefits to doing that?
So a long time ago, you might not know this. A lot of people don't know this. I actually fought MMA, 10, 11 years ago as an amateur and as a pro. And when I was training for that, I would train shirtless because I would fight shirtless. But I've actually never competed without a shirt in jiu-jitsu. So I don't train that way because I feel like I'll get used to something that won't be there when I do compete. So I don't do it, but But yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people that do it, a lot of people that compete in it like that. But yeah, I like to keep the rash guard short sleeve, not long sleeve. But
Yeah, and it's so funny because I feel like everybody has their own variation of things, but I think what you just described was what I usually tell people who fight, where I'm like, hey man, you better get used to that friction being gone, because
exactly.
a lot of the times, if you think that you're going to have a certain grip, it goes away, and it is terrifying when you see a jiu-jitsu person being like, I've got this back take, and then all of a sudden they're on bottom, and you go,
Yeah.
oh god,
Yeah.
it's so
You're like, I got a harness and I slipped way off of them and completely fell off. Yeah. So I think the rash guard is, I mean, you look at ADCC, for example, where you can compete shirtless, and it's very popular to compete shirtless, all the way down to shaving your body like a swimmer. So you're like a slip and slide. But I mean, it's got its advantages and disadvantages. I think it, just like it's harder to control you without a shirt, it can be hard to control somebody without your own shirt on. So I think the rash guard's proper for sure.
good for you. I like that you're going the traditional route on this, because you're very much on the mode of like, no, Raf, I could be wearing my rash guard, so this is a missed business opportunity. I always like to get the insight of competitors, because I've always looked at certain ADCC situations, and when I put myself in those situations, I go, fuck, dude, that dude does not want me to leg lock them. They definitely are taking
Yeah.
their shirt off so that they could slip out more. And I wonder if it's a statistic or a strategic sort of thing for those folks.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to ADCC, there's so much front headlock and wrestling and scrambling that if you're shirtless, that's great. That'll be that's I feel like that would be the advantage that lays in the ADCC aspect of competing shirtless.
Well, then there's the also side of, okay, so let's say you opt not to, then you're training that way. You almost need guys to be training without it so that you get that too. So then you have to be like, hey, odd question. Can you help me? Yeah, sure, man. What do you need me to do? Do you mind not rolling with your shirt on? No big, if you don't want to. Like, I feel like that's the shit. And I didn't know if that's an actual thing for people who have competed in ADCC to consider when they're doing it.
Yeah, actually, that's funny. I never thought about that. Like, I've never been asked to take my shirt off before training, which I would find a little odd, but I would understand that from another competitor.
Because legitimately,
that's funny.
I had a friend who he was competing, he did trials, and he won his first match, right? And he was great.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had a second match, and he was going up against Gianni Grippo. And I'm kind of like, hey, Gianni's going no shirt. You should probably consider it, dude. And he wasn't near me, and I was trying to text him like, hey, man. And we only recently saw each other because those were like 2 or 3 years ago with those trials.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, hey, man. And he goes, dude, it was such a rough match. And I go, yeah. But you know what? You never would have gotten that match without him. And he goes, that's fair. That's totally true. And then all of a sudden I go, and do you think you would have done better if you had gone to a rash guard? He's like, you're 100% right. He's like, he caught me real quick. And he goes, now that you're making me think about it. And I go, I tried texting. He goes, dude, I saw it afterwards. And I was like, fuck, Raf's right. And so it was 2.5 years later that I was like, oh shit, my man's sending me a note to be like, yeah, you're right. So
that's
up
funny.
until then,
That's
he didn't
funny.
admit anything. He never like at all like told me like, you might be honest on it. I just like the idea that I go, yeah, just there's almost a science behind trying to figure that out on like, does that work? Does that not work? Okay. Yeah. Like you said, long rash guards seem like a foregone. Don't do that. But some people do.
Yeah. Some people do, and then, like I think it was, Gordon that says he specifically wears it if he's going to roll somebody that he feels like is going to be slippery. So, and then that goes right back into, the rash guard being an advantage in a way if you want to control somebody, and then, so I think it definitely has its pros and cons, but like your friend, for example, had he won that match with Gianni, he's got to keep his rash guard on, because I don't know anybody who puts on the sweaty rash guard after they take it off.
So again, that's a strategic thing, but I'll tell you this. I don't know that the person in his third round would have been as good as Gianni Grippo. I think you're right. I think you have to commit to it. But that's not
Yeah.
unless you have a whole bunch of rash guards in a bag that you can be like, oh,
Exactly.
back into this now. I just need
Exactly. It's like
strategic decision.
exactly because you think about it in a tournament, you end up wearing this. If you keep a rash guard on, you end up wearing it for 10 hours, and it's disgusting, But like the only thing worse than putting on a clean rash guard when you're drenched in sweat is just putting on the sweaty one again. So when you take it off, you got to commit. It's either the finals, the semifinals, or you're just that guy.
And I will say, as somebody who is not in shape, when I see that happening, I'm always like, I mean, there's the strategic part, but then there's also the like, is somebody photographing this? Because like I didn't work on the core section here.
Yeah.
And this could be a little bit better at the moment, but looking better for photo or winning.
Exactly. Yeah. I remember when I was competing early on, white, blue belt, purple belt locally, like the Nagas and stuff, you'd see the one here and there, the one person that did it shirtless. And at that point, it wasn't really for the advantage. It was just like the Hulk aspect, like the pound your chest, let me scare this guy. And it might have worked at the time. And at the time I was like, yeah, that's just not me. It'll never be me. And now when it comes to the strategic test, I'm like, yeah, it was never me. I'll just keep a rash guard on.
I'm glad that you know those things, but it is something that I feel like that doesn't get discussed. And the people who end up doing it are always those people who are like, oh, they're in shape. They definitely wanted to let you know they were working out. So
yeah,
you can't hate on it because you worked really hard to fucking
exactly
get in shape.
Yep.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So let's get back to matters
funny,
that matter. When you want to open up a gym, and you said that it was kind of always in the works, like when realistically did it come something that could be in play?
Say that last part again. Sorry.
Just realistically, when was this something that was going to be in play? Like, when were you actually able to make this happen?
Yeah, so right around last year, I was looking at, like with any business, not just a school. I think you kind of ask yourself, where do you see yourself in X amount of time doing, X, Y, and Z, and I think all the cards aligned perfectly to open it now. The area I'm in down in Bradenton here in Florida, it's a very up and coming area. Beautiful, beautiful beaches by the area as well, which goes back into what we were talking about earlier. So it just it just felt like it was a great time to do it. I had some downtime as far as competing goes, and yeah, it was just one of those things that just popped in, and seeing some of my teammates open up other schools as well successfully was a good motivation, So it just kind of sparked out of nowhere. I thought it'd be later. I always thought it'd be like after my career, but yeah, I'm glad. If I have one regret, it's having waited this long. If anything, I'm not even open yet, and I'm already too excited for it.
Hold on. Why do you regret that, bro? You literally just got done being like, well, I turned 30. I regret being so young and naive. I'm like, you're still young. Like, where is this coming from?
Well, us competitors, when you get to 30, you're like, oof, man, we're getting there. We got like 8 years left.
So when you say that, okay, you look at it and you think to yourself, okay, maybe this is something I want to do. Maybe this is something that is a real life thing. Because when you first start doing this, you always think to yourself, like, man, it'd be so cool if I had my own mats and I had my own place to train. And then as you get closer to it, you realize, oh, there's a whole bunch of logistical things that I have to do that aren't fun. Like, oh, if there's no toilet paper, I have to order that. If there's not enough mat sanitizer, I can't blame this white belt who didn't tell me.
And that's another thing. I haven't mopped a mat in 10 years.
Oh, wait, hold on. How have you not mopped a mat in 10 years, sir?
No, I definitely have. But you know how you said, this white belt didn't mop it right. Most schools go by rank, so it's been a while since it was up to me. So I'm excited to be that guy all over again.
You'll definitely have a lot of those photos that you can put up where you're just like, here's a 3-paragraph sentence about hard work, and it's you mopping the mats, and it's you in black and white being like, I'm a black belt, but I take pride in mopping these mats every day.
Exactly. Oh, I already have that dim lighting. Ask the person to stand far away. 10 o'clock on a Tuesday. Couldn't wait for this moment.
Oh my God. That's
funny.
To me, I look at this and I think, okay, my man's he's getting ready for it. He's there. He's ready to open up this place. Having said all that, having said that you're getting excited, things are coming together, what has been the best surprise or thing that has been unexpected that has been great about this process of putting the gym together?
So I think What you said? What has been unexpected? One of the best things from the process?
Yeah.
I think seeing it come to life. You haven't, at least for myself, had a vision of what my gym in the future, what my academy would look like. Obviously, that's pending what floor plan you even pick, and end up in. But once I found the spot and we started building it out, I kind of started to envision this is the color I want. These are the, what I want it to look like. And now it's looking exactly like that. And it's a really cool feeling because no matter what, you're kind of prepared to settle for some things like, okay, maybe, the desk won't be here. Maybe the mat will come from the left, whatever the case may be as far as anything building out. But I think having it come to life in front of me with my own hands, because I've been helping so much, it has been a great feeling to be able to put my own sweat and muscle into it and to see it come alive before me, and I think an incredible feeling will be when I have students on the mat, and actually learning and wearing the gear and supporting the school and the team. I think that I'm very excited for that moment for sure.
I have to know, what did you learn or have to learn to do this? Because you mentioned that you were putting your own hands into doing this. There's a lot of things that I'm good at, but building things is not one of them. And Dan, if we're being honest, just if I'm looking at you, you don't look like you've lifted a hammer ever in your life. So I have to ask, what did you end up learning in this process how to do when you were getting down to it?
Dude, I learned everything from the safety protocols before I got started on anything, all the way down to ripping up flooring, the type of flooring, sanding down wood and grinding down the concrete floors, installing the mats, which that alone was a skill in itself. So yeah, no, I've become quite a good pro at demoing. I didn't build anything, but I was pretty good at demoing.
So okay, good. I'm glad you're able to tell the difference between the two, because most people would just try to pretend like they did it. They're like, oh, I demoed.
People are like, oh yeah, it looks beautiful, man. Oh yeah, no, the prettiness you'll see was not me. I just made it look. I just ripped up the shit that was there before, and that felt good.
Did it involve any like YouTubing things to learn how to do? Because this is a fascinating part about now that I find that younger kids have the advantage over us, that they can go look up this stuff. Where when I didn't know something, you had to read a book, and I don't know about you, but I did not have the attention span to sit there to go through even 15 pages to be like, and that's how you unscrew it? Sounds good. Like, there is a whole generation where you go, I don't know how to do this. YouTube. 3 minutes.
Exactly.
Cool. Sounds good.
Yeah. Now it's on YouTube. Now everything's on YouTube. Oh yeah, there were definitely a couple moments that so it just goes to show you how little I knew about the machine. I can't even remember the name, but it was a machine that takes the tiles off the ground. And once my buddy left it, he's like, yeah, man, it's real cool. It's real easy. You just do this, put it at an angle, and the tiles will come off. I was like, all right, yeah, awesome, man. I'll get to it. And then a couple hours later, I'm like, this has to be the on button. I'm like, this is the cord. I'm like, that's the outlet. All right, let me YouTube exactly the angle. And then I was like, all right, I got this now. So that part, they'll know I did that now, but I kept that part to myself. I was like, no way I'm asking how to do this. I will YouTube this like a child.
You're not the only one, because there are definitely things that as a host, I have a moment, especially on the technology side, because I know a lot of this, but then new things keep coming up. So there's a lot of stuff that I end up YouTubing and being like, how do you do that? And then where does the thing go? And what is this connecting to? And people will be embarrassed by my YouTube how to search, because it has been something as simple as, what's in my car and how does it work? And I realize
exactly
that the hard part for me is when I pass that knowledge on, I do notice that there is a little bit of judgment to the kids, because the other day one of the kids had their car die, and they needed a jump. And so I had them do it, but I wanted to see how they were doing it. So me and the gym owner are both looking at him like, how do you do it? And the kid's like, I don't know. And I go, well, there's a plus sign, a minus sign. What do you think goes where?
Yeah.
And the kid's like, I don't, okay. And so as he's doing it, I'm just staring at him and I'm like, this idiot. Meanwhile, like any of this shit happens, I just crawl AAA and I go, nope, AAA, you can do this. I'm not doing this bullshit.
Come through and do it.
I pay you guys for a service. and I don't trust myself to do basic functions as that.
No, that's really funny, man. You know what's ironic is that's one of the few things I can actually got down to a T, and that's because I used to have a really shitty car that needed to be jump started, so I just had to learn. But that situation arose in my life a couple of weeks ago, and it was like my moment of shine. I was like, everybody step back, I got this. This goes here, this goes here. Rub your engine, let's go. And I just felt like the man.
Wow. Okay. Let's take this a step further.
Save the day.
Are you also able to change tires?
Yes, definitely. Probably learned it later in life, but I can definitely do that. Oh yeah.
Because I have to say, I knew it pretty well, and then it went away. So
yeah,
I hate the fact that I knew it at one point. If you would ask me when I was 24, had it. Now I'm kind of like, wait, I know we do the jack first, right? Like we is this a Tesla? Is this the same thing? I don't know how the Teslas do theirs.
That's funny. Yeah, I might ask myself a couple questions before I give myself a little pep talk. But yeah, the changing the tire is a non-negotiable. You got to know how to do that.
So I mentioned what was been surprising. If you were to give advice to people who were starting to open their own gym, what is one of the first things that you would advise to them?
So I would definitely advise getting the electronic side and the side of it started, like the CRM, the website, your ads as soon as possible, because that for me was probably one of the more difficult parts. Well, for one, you start a website and then, you got the onboarding process and all that takes a couple of weeks to get started. But I think, at least for me, the hardest part has been figuring out the system. So I would suggest, if you're like me and you feel like that may be the tougher side of the business, getting that started earlier, because that definitely would have helped a little bit, but got it down now and smooth sailing. But
when you do those sorts of things, there's obviously the things you know and the things you don't know. Who has been helpful to you in this process? Like, who has helped to educate you on things that you were like, I didn't really know what this was, but okay.
Yeah, oh man, I've had some great mentors. Chris Rodriguez, Matt Arroyo, who run extremely successful schools here in Tampa and are in our lineage and network. It's just incredible people to look up to, number one, and number two, to get feedback, advice, and then essentially get mentored by. So obviously we're all running different schools, different programs, and different classes and everything, but at the end of the day, it's the similar goal, same goal. So that's been huge, getting insight and getting the, this is, you're going to feel like this, you're going to feel like that, this is going to happen first, and then you'll be smooth sailing from here. So it's definitely been a ton. So huge shout out to them. Absolutely.
What has it been like to people who have been coming up to you and being like, hey, when's your gym opening? Like, I'm sure, over the years, you built up a clientele of people who you've either worked with or privates or all that. And I'm sure for years they've been like, hey, where's this happening? Where's this happening? And now that you're getting closer, have you had an onslaught of students and friends being like, when can I come? And, hey, how is this happening? And when can I sign up, sort of a thing?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably more than I even anticipated, which is flattering and awesome, because you'll have a full mat and people coming by to train. But yeah, they've been anticipating it quite a bit, and a lot of, for the most part, it was like everybody's reaction was, oh, it took you long enough, finally, about time. So it's been fun. Yeah, everybody's contacting me about it and asking me, when we're gonna open up, are we gonna do the pro trainings? When's the first pro training? And yeah, it's been fun. So the feedback has been phenomenal, and yeah, I'm excited to, everybody loves open mats, so I'm excited for the big grand opening open mat where everybody that's been asking me those questions can finally just come see it for themselves.
I like that people have been asking when the pro training is, because that really just means they want to get in good training with you. So
exactly,
what they're asking for is
exactly.
Like, hey man, you've probably been really busy, and I'd like to get in rounds with you. So when can that happen?
Yeah, it's kind of like, hey man, once you're done with the build out and all the difficult stuff, don't ask me for help, but I'm definitely down to come train.
I just love the fact that, people are sneaking that one in, being like, no, cool, super excited for this gym. Yeah, no, happy for you. When are we? When are you free?
Exactly. Like, don't worry, guys. Yeah, it's like in my head, I'm like, don't worry, guys. The training will come. It will be a mecca for training, but in due time.
Okay, this is a big question, so take your time on it.
Mm-hmm.
Florida's a big spot, okay? Lots of people have places in Florida. If I am a Floridian or somebody coming to visit, why am I coming to your gym, sir?
Well, you're gonna coming to my gym for one. It's unlike anyone in the area. As we were talking about earlier, it's no gi only. I obviously a lot of schools still offer the gi program and gi training, and I myself have never been exposed to it. I've specified a no gi. So I think with the popularity of no gi growing in America, and I think everybody can agree with it. It's imploded recently. I think it steers enough away from the traditional aspect to bring in more of the new fans to jiu-jitsu, more of the people that are in town that would want to train specifically no-gi. But yeah, I think it's gonna differ a lot from a lot of the other schools that most people are used to going to in the area, or differ a lot from the traditional class structure that most people are used to in a class. You know, two techniques, go roll, go home. You know, I think I have a really good thing planned, and I'm excited to show everybody.
Okay, let's get down to that. You just kind of easily floated this in there, but you were like, I just decided no gi. How does one just decide no gi? Because, you know, most of us have to do both. And not always do we get the opportunity to just say, like, this is a no-gi gym unless we have a 10 in front of it. So
Exactly.
if that's the case, how difficult was that decision to make? And, you know, what do you feel like there is a thirst for that right now?
Yeah, so I mean, the decision itself wasn't very difficult. So when I first started training back in 2008, 2009, it was primarily to fight. And my school, with my coach, Bamboo, he didn't even offer a gi program. So I wasn't even exposed to gi training until I was, a purple belt or so. And I think right around that time today, now we fast forward 15 years, people are, when you look at the highest level of competition, whether it's ADCC or the next, I think it's starting to steer. There was always that argument of gi or no gi, but I think you're starting to see that you don't need to train them both to be good at both. Obviously, you can be good, just as good as both. Somebody like Nicholas Marigali or anything like that. But I think with the popularity of no gi growing so much, you're going to see a lot more schools wanting to implement mainly no gi. You have aside from the 10th Planet schools, you have the term American Jiu-Jitsu kind of taken over now, where it signals more no-gi based. So I think that alone is where the sport is going to be headed, at least in America. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it's going to be in another 5 to 10 years, it's going to be just the new high school wrestling, but you get to start it earlier.
That's fair. That's fair. I also see you as somebody who has competed pretty primarily, like you mentioned, no-gi. So it does make sense. It's just
exactly. And with the belt system, and sorry, go ahead.
No. This is your answer. Go for it.
Yeah, and with when you get into the belt systems, you got if you're only doing no-gi, what do you need the belt for? I think the belt itself is if you train in the gi, you need it to tie your gi. But in no-gi, I think it's more symbolic than anything. I have my black belt. I wear it twice a year for 2 ceremonies. But it's a rank. It's a sign of who you are, the time you put on the mat, your skill set. So even if you train primarily no-gi and don't wear a belt every day, I think the symbolism of having achieved that rank should still be, it's something that can still be applied in no-gi, whether I hand it to you and you walk away or actually put it on.
I just love. So let me ask this: where does your actual gi belt reside? Like, if I were to ask you right now, where is it? Do you know where it is?
Yeah, it's sitting over in my shrine in my room, and it's got all the creases in it still, perfect folds.
I feel
so I've been a black belt for 7 years almost. So I've probably worn it maybe 13 to 14 times in that time. Or some I might wear it. Yeah.
I'm really glad that you wear it for all the formal, most important occasions. Like, you're just like,
you got to.
Shit. Yeah, is it Christmas? Yeah, we're doing promotions now. All right.
It's funny. A lot of the schools that in our network here in the Tampa Bay area, they at the promotion ceremonies they'll be wearing gis. If you primarily train a no gi, you don't. But I always let them know I'll be in my ranked rash guard and I'll have my belt.
You know what? I just think that you should have it handy near you to be like, oh yeah,
exactly.
It's in my bag. It's just right here. I don't really use it, but I keep it as a nice little knapsack so that I can kind of go on my shoulders. Yep, that's what I use it for. Because I always find people who have no-gi belts. You go, I don't know how to explain this to people who are civilians, but we give him a belt because traditionally you wear a kimono, but they don't, so we still give it to them.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I'm really sorry.
Exactly. And I know like there were other schools, I've heard of other schools doing like t-shirt ranks and rash guard ranks. And of course there's plenty of ranked rash guards, but you can't just give a student a rash guard and say you're a blue belt or a purple belt. It's got to be a belt, or just the term itself. You can't be a blue. You're a blue belt, you can't be a purple belt. I got to give you a belt with it.
It is so wild to me because I have some friends who have gotten shirts and ranked up like that. And it still baffles me because I was like, it's kind of cool, I guess. You get like a little check off and I go, I'm not a part of this gym, so I don't know exactly what it is, but I just know that because I get like a stripe on a belt, somehow that makes sense. But I'm like, that's equally as weird. Like, when somebody comes over and goes, you're inching closer, still not there, but good job, you. And I go, oh, yay. And then all of a sudden I'm looking at these people who are getting check marks on a fucking shirt, and I go, that's weird.
Yeah, exactly.
You guys are the weird ones.
Yeah, so you want to wear the shirt, that's your rank, that's cool. But I definitely think you need the belt somewhere in there, Even if you're gonna keep it folded, you can hold it like this in the picture with your coach if you want, you don't have to throw it over your neck.
Even when Eddie's like choking out his guys or doing like those weird wild photos where you see them like bracing for impact, I'm always like, I guess at least they have a system where they go, we're just gonna run with this, and it's really stupid. So God bless.
Exactly. You see it all, I've seen somebody get promoted to a new belt in their no-gi attire and have it tied around their waist. I've seen it thrown around the shoulder. I think John Danner hands it to you with a knife at when you get promoted, and it's like literally just hands it to you. So there's a lot of different ways of doing it, but I think it all falls down to you earned it, and it's symbolic more than anything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'll tell you this much. I definitely do my part to just kind of watch everybody and go like, okay, at least I'm abreast of what they're doing. That's weird, or this is different, or that's their system, whatever. But I've just learned to be like, do whatever works. If it works for you guys, do that.
Exactly.
It's the same thing for us. It's the same thing with the whipping tradition and whatnot, where you go, it's not really for me, but yeah, sure. If you guys want to do that, great. Sounds awesome. Go.
The whipping, the gauntlet.
So have you decided what tradition you may do for your students when you promote them? Because I feel like every little gym culture that you can come up with, whether it's that or something else, helps to distinguish you as a gym. So if you come up with any gym culture ideas or concepts that you want to kind of make happen day one at your school.
Yeah, definitely. So I think, like we were talking about a little bit earlier, I think the attire is extremely important. For one, at least at my school, all my beginner classes will be wearing a ranked rash guard. The main reason being is because when you do start training jiu-jitsu, you don't have any gear. Nobody does, of course. So you are going to be coming in big baggy Nike shorts and then giant, baseball shirt, whatever the case may be. So I want to obviously every sport, and I think this jiu-jitsu especially now, every sport has a uniform, whether it be tennis, wrestling, basketball. I think jiu-jitsu is no different because no gi is done without a gi. That can't be the uniform, so you have to have a uniform in place. And in my opinion, I think a ranked rash guard is perfect. And once you get to the advanced class or you're a blue belt and up, and you can wear any rash guard you want because at that point you probably already own gear. By the time you make it to a higher rank, you're into the sport, you're buying, this gear, that gear. You don't have to wear the school gear, but definitely, I think implementing a rash guard, and at least in the intro program, a mandatory school rash guard is great because it'll keep the uniform aspect and keep the other attire off the mat for sure.
Yeah, one thing that I can forward you, I've learned two things from my good friend Mike Frosto. The first is that his gym, he actually didn't make it mandatory for his students at first to wear the team rash guard, but because everybody saw those of us who were around the most wearing it, it became like, no, you show up with that. And that was
exactly
hella dope to have that culture day one. Because when I show up there, And, I show up less and less because I'm teaching elsewhere and I'm working. But when I do show up, I see everybody's pretty much wearing that. So without even having to call it an official rule, it might be one that's closer to being a rule now. It's really dope to see that. And two, I don't know, what kind of mats do you have? Are they white at any part, or are they black? Or
no, they're gray mats.
They're great. Thank God. Okay. Because my man went for some white mats, and now we have certain rules for certain brands that just kind of leak and are not great.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for the good brands, because the bad brands don't necessarily come off those mats.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. Thankfully, I got the gray mats, and they'll hold up and pretty sturdy with anything like that. But you made a good point with the rash guards right now. You just mentioned what was it, that your first point? What was that again?
It was that he didn't necessarily make it a requirement.
Yes, the culture.
The culture itself was that everybody wanted to do it, because I saw everybody show up with that. And I think that comes from like the gym owner himself and then the top upper belts. And when the upper belts are all there wearing it, they're like, oh, should I be doing that too?
Exactly. It has to start at the top. And I myself, I am always like, quote geared out, you're always going to be in gear. And in my opinion, when you walk, for example, with you walk into my class 3 months from now and all my intro students have the rash guard, you're going to walk in, you're going to see me in a ranked rash guard, you're going to know I have to talk to that guy. He's the one teaching the class because he's dressed differently, and I think that culture, like you mentioned, is important. I've had like buddies that are like, oh, so what if a few months from now a guy walks in and he only wants to wear a wife beater? I'm going to be like, well, he's going to look at the class and he's going to buy a rash guard because he's not going to want to wear the wife beater because of the culture. If you walk into a specific gym, the culture right away, and if you are even dressed appropriately for it. And I think that's huge. I think the culture in the gym is one of the most important things you have to build. And it starts with me, starts at the top with whoever the school owner is.
I'll be honest. Has anybody ever tried to roll in a wife beater? It's not super fun. Like,
it's horrible.
It's not great. And I've been there because Brown. But
yeah,
it's not the best. I will routinely have like a tank top if I'm rolling, especially at our MMA gym. And the way I make that work is I just go like, hey, listen, for the most part, if I ever feel it's not going to be, or if it's going to snag or something like that, I'll just change to a fucking rash guard. But a lot of these guys, because they're more MMA based, I go, you need kind of a little bit of looseness for that. That slipperiness. So that same friction that you talk about with that, I think this is beneficial to them if they're going to go that way. So I kind of do that. But like when I go to like Frosto's, always regular rash guard, his gear, all the way on out. But it depends. Like every culture has its own weird little thing.
Exactly. So exactly. From a scale of 1 to 10, you got like, 1 where you can wear whatever you want, or you got 10 like Art of Jiu-Jitsu, where it's white gis only, black rash guards only, and no other brand possible. I think that's a little strict. It works for them, of course. It's doesn't look bad and looks nice, but a culture of at least, a general etiquette of gear, definitely important.
I would definitely say that. And, it's pretty dope. Speaking of pretty dope, all right, so your grand opening is on September 17th, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing the grand opening flyer here. And it says from 11 to 12 p.m., a self-defense seminar. 4 chokes to subdue an attacker. So that is how you're starting off. Like day 1, you're coming in and being like, yo, we're getting straight to self-defense. And then afterwards, we're going to maul each other in our own.
We're going to maul each other.
So is there going to be a little bit of a hybrid of like, maybe for emphasis on self-defense for new students or for people who want that? And then maybe for that pro training for those people who are like really trying to compete? Is that kind of like the 2 places that you're serving, or are there other things that I'm missing or may not know about?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on. I think you have to serve both. At the end of the day, your professional competitors are not the bread and butter of your school. I think most people hear about the sport either wanting to learn self-defense or watching some type of fighting on TV. So the self-defense seminar is just a great way to first of all, introduce myself to the community and the academy and the school, and a great way to invite that, that student that has been thinking about doing it but hasn't tried it yet, doesn't want to do full sport jiu-jitsu because he doesn't want to train like a pro. Well, there's very many benefits to jiu-jitsu, like self-defense, and I think seeing it as self-defense first for what it is, and then learning it as, for what it really is, which is the entire sport of jiu-jitsu. I think it's a very important step for a beginner. Unless, of course, you're coming in with a, hey, man, I want to fight professionally and I want to fight in a month. And you're like, whoa, hold on, we're going to slow down. There's always that guy. Right. But yeah, and then, and then we'll split it off and we'll have the open mat for the friends and everybody that wants to come by and kill each other and kill me.
I don't know that a lot of people want to kill you. I think they want to support you, so they'll be coming out. What exactly do you foresee about that first day? Like, if you can tell me exactly how you kind of map that out, what do you see on that first day happening, sir?
I see a very intro class, obviously, with the seminar. A couple students. I mean, obviously, we already have a number of registrants in, so it'll be very fundamental techniques, old school. Headlocks don't work, standing guillotine doesn't work. Everybody will kind of see that in the self-defense seminar, they've seen bits and pieces of that in fighting or MMA or whatever actually brought them into the door. So it'll be exciting to see them, progress and learn what I'm teaching there. Hopefully they enjoy it and come back, obviously, the following day. And then after a little break, I see a lot of friends and family, loud music, some food, and then a lot of sweat on the mat and a lot of cleaning up to do after. But it'll be great, man. It'll be everything that I dreamed of and wanted out of the school. New faces, new friends, new students, old faces, old friends, and everybody coming together on one mat to do jiu-jitsu, and happens to be my mat. So I'm very excited.
I love that. And as you mentioned, you've been somebody who's been going to so many other gyms, and now I feel other people have to return that favor on over to you, sir.
Exactly. Now it's like, now you guys come to me. I've been driving at you guys for years. You guys want to train with me? You guys know my class schedule. You don't have to ask me where I'm training today. You already know where I'm going to be.
And the best part is, especially when you're like, do you think I'm going to be at home? No, this is the new residence forever.
This is the new residence. Exactly.
Okay. That's funny. I asked you what you saw happening on day one. What do you foresee in year one? Like at the end of your first year? What do you foresee? Like, what would be the dream scenario in 1 year for you at your gym?
Man, dream scenario, and I mean, obviously, tons of students, too many students, but in a realistic sense, I want to have a good core group of students that have stuck with me from the beginning to that year mark. By then, I would assume to have some leveling up, some students going up in rank, and at that time, that's when it would be a great problem to be splitting classes, and adding new programs and an advanced class and intro students, improve the curriculum and then move over to this. So I think the year mark is it's actually where I'm like thinking ahead. Like right now, I'm like, man, I can't wait for a year from now where, it's a easy spinning wheel. I already got everything down. I got the systems down, and then, that I'm excited for that.
I'm just a little afraid.
But I see a lot of students, and I see definitely some local competition. So that'll be very fun to take a part of with my own students.
I'm just very, very nervous that during your speech at day one, you're gonna be like, "It's been a great first year, guys." Ah, shit. Okay, sorry. I've just been visualizing. I said the part that was up here out loud. I'm sorry, everybody.
Yeah, and what's funny? It's funny you say about the speech because the only thing I'm good at doing in front of big groups of people is jiu-jitsu, and that's it. In fact, when I used to fight MMA and I would win, and they'd be like, here's the microphone. I'm like, oh God, what am I supposed to say? Like, no, I just want to fight and win, dude. So the speech aspect, I'm already like, what am I going to say? What am I going to say? The first thing I said was, I am not cutting a ribbon. No cutting a ribbon. We're just going to train. Going to do a nice little speech at the end. So, but yeah, I won't jump ahead to the year just yet.
That does seem like a very reasonable request, but can I give a few pointers as
absolutely
as somebody who is taught and performed as a national champion speech guy? Few things. Number one, always speak about what you know about, and about jiu-jitsu, and about your people. So don't plan remarks, but keep them short, concise,
of course,
and especially of the moment. So if you see a lot of great people there, I would say pick 2 or 3 things to highlight as topics. So let's say you
Mm-hmm.
see a lot of spirited competition on the mats that day. It would be like, nothing makes me happier than to see the future competitors on this mat. If you see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
camaraderie, it's got to be like, you know what? Seeing you guys all come together and help each other makes me visualize what it's going to look like in a year, because we're going to have the people who are willing to help other people. If you see a
Exactly.
community come together, you're going to be like, I'm so excited that I saw friends that I knew were going to come and support me, but I was surprised to see so many of you that I didn't know were going to make it out here. Like, whatever those
Yeah.
things are, try to zero in on 3 things and then make sure you're communicating that to the people to show your appreciation. And watch how
Mm-hmm.
much those people come back to you, because
Yeah.
you can can a speech. You can always write something out. But the reason why people get nervous is because of the unexpected. So they're like, if I write it
Exactly.
out, then it'll be perfect and then I won't mess
All of
up.
a sudden, that line doesn't
And they
fit.
get a stumble and they're like, and I don't know why I love you guys, but I do love you guys and good jujitsu and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
legitimately, you've spoken at the end of classes. It's just
Mm-hmm.
that. So it's really
Exactly.
just you going up and being like, hey, I noticed you guys got 2 out of 4 of the chokes, like that already. But
Yeah.
you know what happens? Come tomorrow and we're going to get those other 2 down and we're going to keep finessing it until all of you guys feel strong and safe.
Exactly, and that no, it's definitely true, and I agree. It's funny you say about the writing out the speech, because when I got my black belt, obviously you have to give out your black belt speech, and I had it written out, and then as soon as I got my black belt, I forgot to pull it out of my pocket. I didn't even read it because I don't even think I would have read it anyways, but I was so like, oh my god, I'm in this moment. I forgot what I wrote. I forgot I even had it on me, and then it actually came out perfect because you kind of speak from the heart, and you do look around and you see people that maybe you didn't expect to see. So, yeah, I agree with you on that. You definitely can't plan it. You can be as nervous as you might think you're going to be, but there's really no planning for it.
I always am of the mindset of have a general outline and then be willing to throw it out, because
Exactly. Yeah.
I've gone to so many different occasions where I'm like, I like to be a person who's prepared and do my homework and all that sort of shit. And then all of a sudden
Hmm.
there's just a very different vibe, or there's something else that happened, or if you don't comment on that, it seems weird. So I try
Yeah.
to do my homework and then I try to like harness a message and a theme. And if it still works with what I have, great. And if it doesn't, it's just commenting on what I see in the room. The difference is I did this for years, in the years that you were starting to fight. So,
Yeah.
the years that you were spending fighting make sense because you're teaching at a gym.
Hmm.
But for me, it's like one of those things where if I come into a gym, I'm not expected to speak. But if somebody needs me to say something, I've got it. So
Yeah.
I just try to downplay, like, hey, I'm just here to learn and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So when all the guys want to give their like big morale boosting speeches, I'm like, y'all can do that.
Yeah.
I'm
Knock
here as a
yourself out.
backup if you need me.
That's funny. That's
So,
funny.
all right. I guess we're going to start circling toward the end of this. But you did mention that you kind of want a competition scene with your guys or girls, whoever ends up showing up at
Hmm.
your gym. Does that mean we will see you return to competition? Because I know you've had to dedicate time to making this dream become a reality. Having said that, there's a part of me that thinks you're going to be leading from the front, and I think that's kind of dope. So is that kind of in the
Oh yeah.
works and in the plans?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So inevitably, I had to take a hiatus, if you will, from competing to focus on this, and it'll take up most of my time, and training on the mat won't be for myself selfishly, but I think down the road, it'll definitely early next year I'll get back to competing myself. But as far as my students competing, here in Florida at least, it's such a giant network of local competitions. I mean, everything from the traveling ones like the grappling industries and Nagas, but just some very big and successful homegrown competitions that I've been a part of for the past many years, where it would be truly special to not just compete as a teenage white belt when I was doing it, but to come back with my own students and possibly a teenager that's going to be good, stuff like that. So that'll be really cool, and to just bring students and see them excel and win and be excited about winning at a tournament. I felt the same years ago, and I've helped you prepare for this, and all the little mental battles I went through in preparation, I can guide you through it now. So I'm excited for that. Definitely.
That sounds super dope, man. And I'm super happy for you because it seems like it all is coming together. I know I share the sentiment that I've already seen so many people put on your Instagram, which is about time. So happy for you.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the fruits of it, et cetera, et cetera. So definitely looking forward to seeing that happen for you, sir.
No, I appreciate it, man.
What I would love to do right now is give you an opportunity to shout out anybody who's been helping you behind the scenes, get ready for this sort of a thing, because I know that you can't possibly do all of this on your own. So I'm going to put the camera on you, and the floor is all yours, sir.
Yeah, no, I mean, as cliche as it sounds, everybody has helped me get to this point, for sure. But my right hand man, Emilio, one of my students, my first brown or my second brown belt, he's been a huge help. I mean, he's basically been leading from the front, like we just said, as far as the build out goes. He's got a great team behind them to do stuff like that. So to be able to say I put my trust in his hands to make this place look the way we had envisioned I did, and it's been phenomenal, and it's been incredible for all his help and his teams and family's help, and obviously my mentors Chris, Matt, and everybody in the network that have been meeting with me and helping me get to where they are, or helping me visualize getting to where they are. It's you can't get there alone. Nobody, no millionaire is self-made, and I think it's huge asset to me to have somebody or anybody near me that is there already. So huge shout out to you guys. Couldn't have done it without you, or at least I couldn't have caught any sleep without you guys. That's for sure.
That's what's up. Dan, I have to tell you this, my friend. I'm so happy for you. I shot you a note as soon as I saw this was going up, and I just said, hey, man, let's chat when it gets closer. And the hard part for me is trying to find that middle ground of like, hey, I know you're busy, but I'm not forgetting. But also, like, we need to find that middle ground time of when does it work for you and when am I not getting in the way of you learning how to build a box spring or something and being like, how the fuck does this work? I don't know. I pressed the thing and I put actual springs in there and it's not working.
Yeah.
So I was very pleased that we were able to make this happen, especially this close out to your
I couldn't thank you enough, man. Seriously, to give me the platform to shout it out and to shout my school and myself out by man. So thank you. I always love to be here, and hopefully I'll be back pretty soon.
I mean, you're probably going to win something very soon. So the answer is probably
I hope so. And then I hope so. That's the plan.
Even if you're not, I'm sure one of your students is, and then it's going to be a victory lap of like, hey, coach, how did this happen? But I
will have a lot of students on your show in the next few years.
Oh my God. That's going to be so much fun, especially when I'm going to be like, yo, your coach. Oof. I got jokes on days for this guy. So I'm sure that they will very much appreciate that. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to close this up. We're going to say hello to each other off air again, because we're going to do a separate segment, but I'll tell the people about that in a moment. I'm going to close this bitch up, but I'll see you in just a second, sir.
You got it.
Dan Martinez, everybody. All right, back to this. Let's just say a few things before we close this on up. Number one, in case you didn't hear me the first time, if you want to become a member of the Grappling Hour, we ask very simply that you go over to HY.PAGE/Grappling Hour. You pay $5 a month and you can see some interviews 30 days before anybody else. And if you want to pay a few more dollars, you can also support the show by, checking out our premium content, our premium tier for those individuals who want to see dope content, extra episodes, training footage. And I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, myself and our guest are about to roast one of my competition footage things. So you can see that along with tape studies and a lot of other fun stuff. So go check that out. If you made it this far into the video, you can like, share, and subscribe. And in the comment section, here's what I would say. If in the comment section, you put down what you would like to see at a gym that just opened, that would be dope. Because maybe you didn't like any part of this interview. You made it this far. You can at least put that at the bottom in the comment section and be like, I don't know, man, I'd really like for there to be a spa. It's really expensive. It's not my deal, but I can pass it on to those powers that be that are opening gyms. So anyway, do that. Join our Discord at the Grappling Hour. And I think, honestly, guys, that's going to do it for us. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.